Greetings, and thank you for the opportunity to represent the faculty and staff of Landmark and welcome our newest community members. Thank you. But first, before I start, I want to actually recognize a particular group of people in the crowd today, and that is the moms and dads. And I know many of my colleagues are parents, but we have a special group of parents today that are doing something epic. And they're dropping their young adults off at college for the first time. Two things. First, the simple fact that you are here tells me that you have done your job. So check the box, parents. I commend you for getting them here. The second thing I would say, I want to assure you that you are leaving these young people in great hands. I promise you. And I too remember this day vividly, actually, like it was yesterday. Me, this 18-year-old boy, and my parents dropping me off at college, at university for the first time. I was a nervous wreck. I was a hot mess. This rural New Hampshire 18-year-old leaving the nest for the first time. And mind you, I am a first-generation college graduate. And when it came to that moment, when my mother and father were about to leave me there at the university, you guessed it, I started crying like a 5-year-old getting dropped off at daycare for the first time. And my mom quickly chimed in and she said, "Oh my God, Eric, what's wrong? And maybe this isn't right and you should come home." And my dad knew exactly what to do and say, and he said, "Time to go." And they did, and they left me there and they drove off. And I remember in that moment of having incredible self-doubt, thinking, what was I doing here? Was I smart enough? Had I overestimated myself? Have I gotten myself in over my head? Do I belong in this new community? It hit me hard. And I remember just having great self-doubt in that moment of being and starting college. And so I actually wanted to do a true Landmark interactive teaching moment. And let me get a show of hands. Who in here, and Dr. Eden, you mentioned this earlier, self-doubt. Who in here has ever felt that feeling of self-doubt? Yes, thank you. It's universal. It's ubiquitous. And there's a name for this phenomenon, and it's called the imposter syndrome. The imposter syndrome. And it says that when people are taking on new challenges and endeavors, inevitably you will have feelings of self-doubt, uncertainty, and anxiety. Do those sound familiar? And while these feelings are uncomfortable, I would argue that self-doubt, uncertainty, anxiety, these are normal. We just recognize that these are normal feelings and really part of normal human survival. And I would like to recognize a huge upside to the imposter syndrome and these feelings of self-doubt. Students, I would like to ask you today on behalf of the faculty to change your relationship to these feelings. Don't allow these feelings of anxiety, uncertainty, and self-doubt to scare you off or shut you down. Don't let that happen. We all have it. And the positive is that these feelings show that you are curious, you are humble, and that you care about the very thing that you're worried about, that you care about it. It shows your passion. So embrace those feelings, and everyone here realize that they're exactly where they're supposed to be. I wanted to share some neuroscience, actually, that I just really learned recently. And there's a part of the brain, I need to get this name right for my dear psychology friends here. The brain region is called the anterior midcingulate cortex. And the name's not important, but let me tell you about the emerging research and what it says on this region of the brain. The research shows that when people, stay with me here, when people perform tasks they don't want to do, this region of the brain grows larger and stronger. For example, incorporating routine exercise, changing one's diet, civil discussions with people who have different perspectives, and in our case today, welcoming all of you, challenging academic work. When you do these things you don't want to, the brain structure grows larger. And it's not about doing more work. It's not about doing more work. Or it's not about, and let me be really clear, it's not about dangerous or unsafe things. It's really about doing life's everyday things that we don't want to do. In athletes, this brain structure is larger. In overweight people, the structure is smaller, but when dieting or resisting temptation, the structure grows larger and stronger. It grows larger in people who seek challenges and persist through continuous rigor, and specifically that person performing tasks that are not easy to do, and we all know them, the things that are easy to avoid. Scientists believe this is the brain control center for willpower, willingness, and that we can build this area up, strengthen this area of our brain, and like a muscle, if we don't, it will atrophy, it will shrink, it will regress. So students, hear me, and everyone. Willpower is developed and grown by simply doing things you don't want to do. And now, knowing this research, I want to invite you all into the hard work of academics. Reading loads, essays, papers, tests, presentations, projects, group work. We know the work. I lost my spot. I'm sorry. We know the work. Engaging in these opportunities will strengthen your own willpower. Engaging in these things. And so my advice on behalf of the faculty is really to lean into the hard work. Lean into the academic challenges and accept those tasks that you don't want to do. Because ultimately, and we all know this here, life requires us to do things we don't want to do. It really does. So my advice is simple, but it's certainly not easy, and those are not the same thing. But let me boil it down, students. Become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And my students over there are shaking their head because they've heard me say it. Become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Grow comfortability with uncertainty. Grow comfortability with self-doubt, anxiety, and lean into those tasks that you know will be tough. Just maybe it's the secret to building willpower and success, not just here in your academic career, but in life going forward. And this is really important. Keep this in mind. You do not do this alone, and it's already been said here today. You don't get there alone. Critical to your process here is forming relationships and connections with these incredible people that I'm pointing at right now. They are eager to meet you, have deep discussions with you, and they're ready to be part of your journey here. These guys, meet them. At Landmark, we give you permission to focus on the process, not the end result. And what does that mean? And sometimes people look at me with three heads when I say this to my students, but I say, don't focus on grades. Focus on your process. Grades aren't representations of actually accurately how much you've learned always. You know that. So defocus on grades. And at Landmark, focus on the process. Focus on how you learn. Focus on who you are as a neurodiverse learner. Focus on how you study best, where you study, what time, where is your interruption-free study spot? I say go find that spot before the semester starts. Where are you doing your best work and at what time? Embrace and develop the process of reading, writing, test taking, and working collaboratively with others. Embrace those processes. And while here, invest time and thought in your own learning process. Invest time into that. And in doing so, your grade will take care of itself. So defocus on grades. Focus on you, yourself, your growth, and your process. Last thing, I promise. For our new students, and I see a lot of students here, see yourself, visualize yourself right now walking across the stage and getting your diploma. See that. Put that goal in the back of your mind as you engage. Put that goal of seeing yourself in the back of your mind as you engage in this process ahead, starting Monday, of academic rigor, hard work, and the things you may not want to do. Thank you for listening. And on behalf of my peers at Landmark College, I welcome you.